Welcome back to Grace and Grief. I'm Lysandra, and if you are new to this channel, welcome. If you are returning to the channel for the update, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I don't even know where to start. Like, it's been a lot has happened since even the last video I've made. A whole lot has taken place, and I don't think I can get to all of it in this video, and so I'm not gonna do that. But I'm just gonna give you guys some of the highlights and some of the major happenings. It has been 5 years. It was 5 years in October since my husband went to be with the Lord. You can go back and watch my first video. I'll link it up here at the top. But in October 2017, my husband passed away. He had cardiomyopathy. He died a sudden death. We went to high school together, been best friends in high school, best friends in college, and we were married for 13 years. And my life after him, like when he passed, I had no idea what to do. I just wasn't expecting him to pass away like that. I was very shocked. I held on to my faith. I held on to the belief that God was going to do something and that God had a plan. I had some small sense of what might be the plan, but I really didn't know. I had to really walk it out step by step by faith. And so I have documented on this channel and on Instagram and Facebook about my journey, and I'm sharing because I know that there's so many people out there that are in similar places. Maybe you haven't lost a spouse, but you've lost a parent, a child, a sibling, a friend, or you've gotten a divorce, or you've lost your health, or you've lost your finances, or you lost your career, or you've gone through abuse or betrayal. Honestly, I make this content to be able to fit grief, loss, and trauma. My background is really in violence prevention. So I've done a lot of training in trauma and trauma-informed care. And I'm just also like a study of human development and psychology, and now grief and loss. And so I pull all of that together when I'm writing and when I'm doing Grace and Grief. So recently, I have too many lights on in the background, so let me turn something off. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of the tea of where I've been. I would say that in between like year 4 and 5 after loss has been, I would classify it as the time in which I finally began to feel at home in my life again. I think I've mentioned on past videos, I just felt like a foreigner in my own life. Like an outsider in my own life, because I no longer felt comfortable in the life that I was living because I didn't choose it, It was something that happened that I had to rise to the occasion of. But I would say in year 4 and 5, these are the years where I have, thank God, finally began to feel at home in my own life, began to feel like I'm living a life that I chose because it's what I created out of the loss, and it's what I have worked to create beyond the loss. And so I feel more comfortable in it. I'm living a life that is in alignment with my values, my destiny, my gifts, my calling, what's important to me, what's healthy for me. So it's not perfect. It's always a work in progress, and it always will be, right? But I've come a long way in being able to walk out a lot of the things that I desired to walk out. And so one of those things is that I started a new job. And so I posted about it on my social media. If you're not following me on Grace and Grief on Instagram or Facebook, do jump over there and follow me. It's at Grace and Grief on both Facebook and YouTube. Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Or you can check out the Grace and Grief website. It's www.graceandgrief.com. But anyway, my passion, I have a lot of interest. I'm one of those people that I just have a lot of interest. All my gifts and my flavor, my vibe work well in a lot of different settings. if that makes sense. Like the way I show up, it's transferable. My skills are transferable into all kinds of things, right? And that's just how I'm wired up. And so, but the main work I was trying to do was policy related work, was public policy related work. Grace and Grief is like a ministry entrepreneurial venture that I also have understood as a part of my purpose and is a part of God's plan for me. But it's in addition to some other things that I was aspiring to be before, way before my husband passed away, even before we were a couple, just many, many years of working towards certain things. And God has blessed me to not only be appointed to be a member of my district school board, so that's local school policy, to be now an elected official on that local level. That's exciting. I started that in the spring of last year. And then my job is at an organization that basically helps young women harness their political power and to engage their community and to excel in civic engagement. So I'm so excited about it. I'm loving it. And I get to work with some brilliant people at that organization, and I'm just thankful. I feel like I'm at the right place at the right time with the right people. So that feels really good. It feels really fulfilling. So outside of that, I would say another life update that I'll share on this video is that your girl turned 40. Yeah. I want to say 40 snuck up on me. Like, who's 40? Who? Me? Like, that was how I felt. Like, where did this come from? I don't know what's going on. 40 snuck up on me, y'all. I couldn't have a crisis because I had a quarter life crisis in my 20s and I had a real life crisis in my 30s. So I was like, nah, I'm not due for another crisis right now. So we're not having no crisis because we're 40. We're going to embrace 40. And so that's what I've been trying to do. Embrace 40. I honestly have had my vision for what my 40s and 50s can look like. Kind of like I'm cultivating it more, especially because I have I'm realizing that a lot of certain people are older, right? Like there's certain even celebrities that I look up to and I'm like, these people are 40, 50 years old. And I look up to them and they're thriving in their careers and they're thriving in their sphere of influence. So, and they look good. I want to look good all my life, okay? I don't ever want to look bad. So I wanted to talk to you guys about defining yourselves. And when I say that, I mean it's important to define yourself after loss. And what I mean is that there are a lot of ideas that people have about what grief looks like and what life after loss looks like and what's going to happen to a person after they've lost their loved one, and when should you move out of your house, and when should you clean out your loved one's stuff out of the closet, and when should you get a new job, and should you move or not, and how you should be looking and how you should act, and should you date, not date, and get married and not get married. And people have a lot of opinions about what you should be doing after loss, and that has been an uncomfortable aspect of loss for me. Very uncomfortable because I don't think I had really strong boundaries in the beginning of my experience. And I mean that in the sense that they were internally, I didn't have good internal boundaries. So I would allow what other people said and what other people projected to really impact me. And I will save you some trouble. If you are at the beginning of your journey of loss and grief, let me help you. Hear me when I say this. They don't know what you're supposed to be doing. The people don't know what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to grieve and where you're supposed to live and all. They don't know. I'm not saying that there's no wisdom in anywhere, with anybody. But majority of the people, they don't know when you're supposed to date. They don't know how long you should feel, they don't know. This is a deeply, and I want you to see it this way, this is a deeply personal time of life where hopefully you have an amazing therapist that can help you really discern some things about yourself on your journey. Hopefully you have some wonderful people in your life, family and friends, that can really help speak into your life at different points. But really, you are the captain of this ship. And you have to own it. You have to own that. And that can be scary. Sometimes you'd rather someone else come fix it. You tell me what to do. I don't know, right? Like, there's times like that where I have definitely felt that way, but it doesn't come that way. And worrying about what someone said, I should have been doing this and I should be here by now and I shouldn't be doing this or I should be doing that. Or I should think this way and feel that way and look that way and go here and do this. You really can't over concern yourself with other people's ideas and opinions about what you should be doing in this time of your life. Have a board of directors. We've talked about that, I think, on this channel. So have a board of directors, and that's just a trusted group of people who have expertise in various areas. Have a board of directors that you look to get some advice, but even they don't know it all. Okay. This is a time where you have to start trusting that inner voice. We all have an inner voice. We all have, if you're a person that comes from faith, you know that God is going to speak to you. He comes in many different ways that he communicates. If your faith is not real strong, you don't know if God speaks to you, you still have an inner voice. You have an internal compass. You have intuition. You have a gut feeling and instinct. You have a desire stirring up in you. You have feelings of, that don't seem right for me. That is for a good fit. All that. Listen, all of that is inherent. And you have wisdom, you have experiences, you have preferences, you have opinions. You have to pull together those internal resources and then get some information from some external resources. But at the end of the day, you have to decide how you're going to respond to your loss and what your life is going to look like now and what you're going to do next. And it's important to protect that authority. Let me tell you this, you know, there's a businesswoman, author, some of you guys may have followed her, Rachel Hollis. I heard her say in some interviews some years ago, don't let people that are sitting in the don't let people who are sitting in the cheap seats have an expensive opinion. And I laughed when I heard her say that, but I really felt like, girl, that's good. Don't let people who are sitting in the cheap seats of your life have an expensive opinion about what you do. And that means don't let what they think hold a lot of weight. If someone has not taken the time to walk with you, invest in you, get to know you, understand your context and all that, like really see you and understand you and process you, who you are and where you're trying to go, and they're not invested in your life, why? They're in a cheap seat in your life. They're not in an expensive seat. So why allow them to have an expensive opinion or allow what they say and what they do hold so much weight? I've decided to make that a part of make that one of my mantras, you know, and words to live by. I think that that's valuable perspective. I think it was probably a year after my husband passed away. There was a phrase that kept coming up for me, and the phrase was, hold the space. And what that meant and what I understood that it meant was there was a space that my husband had in my life as my spouse. The Bible says the two become one. So this was my spouse. This was a person I was one with. We shared bills, we shared children, we shared a home, we shared a car. We had been to high school and college together. We had talked all day, all night on the phone for years, then became a couple, talked all day, all night, then got married, talked all day, all night. Like, this person knew me better than anyone knew me. And he was invested in who I was. He was invested in my life. He knew what I was, who I was trying to become. He understood my goals. He understood my weaknesses and my strengths. He understood the way that I was and why I was the way that I was, you know. There were depths of understanding that he had with me, and there was a level of investment and care that he had for me and my children that no one else had, right? And so when I felt like I was in a season of life where there were all these opinions and comments coming at me, I felt like God said, no, you hold Kenneth's space. Don't you let anybody come you like in a place of authority in what they're saying, or have such a heavy voice in your life like he had, because nobody's earned the right to that. Nobody has earned the right to have that much opinion, authority, emotion, or nothing about you and what you're doing with you and your kids. Nobody. So do not let anybody come get in that space. You protect that space in your life. And you are in that space with God now. You don't have another adult that's in that space. You thank God for other people that are friends and family and loved ones and other people. My counselor is amazing. Like, I have mentors. Thank God for them, but they're not they didn't take the place of my spouse. And so I would say, if you lost someone, like if you lost your person, if you've lost your person, whether or not it was to divorce, or maybe whether or not it was to death, or maybe it was divorce, or maybe it was some other way that you've lost like the main voice in your life, the main other player that was an adult in your life, you can't just allow some other person to run up and take that place in terms of their advice to you and their wisdom. My husband, I trusted him in the sense of, if he was like, I don't think you should take the job, or I think you're selling yourself short over here, he understood my whole backstory, right? It was like, okay, you're right. Like most of the time. Or if he was like, I don't think you should do this, I think you should do it. Like, I trusted what he was saying, why he was saying it. We didn't have to go through it. I don't think the kids, this and that. I could trust that source. So I say all that to say, be protective of your personal life. I think that sometimes, especially when we lose our spouse, it's like all these other people become involved in aspects of our life where it was private before, between you and your spouse, and no one else really had a voice and opinion, or even asked you anything about it. But then when you're single, or you're widowed, or you're divorced, now all these other people want to come and talk about, or maybe have questions about intimate aspects of your life. But when I started holding the space, I decided, no, you're still going to be on the outskirts of that, because that's my personal business. And just because he's not here doesn't mean you can come now be a part of it. It's personal, right? Nobody's earned the right to be a part of certain things and certain aspects of your life. These were nuggets and lessons that I had to wrestle to come into in the past years, these past 5 years or so. I really am curious about where you guys are in your process. Like, some of y'all been rocking with me a long time. Can I get an update? Can you jump in the comments and like give me some feedback? How are you? Where are you at in your life? How's it going? Are you good? Do you have questions about the past 5 years of my life? To God be the glory. I lost my husband and I rebuilt my life to a place where I feel comfortable again and I'm loving my life. It's not easy. Everything's not perfect, but that is my testimony. And I do feel like I'm a better version of myself than I was 5 years ago. Why? I know that I'm a better version. I'm a much better version of myself than I was 5 years ago. Kenneth is still missed, forever loved. We carry his legacy. We're going to forever honor his legacy. God has been faithful. I always say that. And I want you guys to understand some more about how I got here. So, and lessons learned, and what I'm still learning. I'm still learning stuff, trust me. But leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, share it, and I'll see you next time.